You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live This Week, featuring news and commentary on This Week in Black Hollywood. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live This Week, Dario Kristen.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're watching Black Hollywood Live This Week. I am your host, Dario Kristen. Joining me today is Courtney Stewart.
What's up, everybody?
DJ Jesse J.
What's up?
And Aaliyah Cruz is our special guest host today.
Word.
That's all you got for him today?
That's all I got for you guys today.
That's all you got on this first week of Friday in August, you know?
I'm feeling good. What else is there to say? It sums it up.
That's right. All right, well, we got an interesting show today with a lot of good topics, including Kelly Osbourne defends.
You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live This Week, featuring news and commentary on This Week in Black Hollywood. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live This Week, Dario Kristen.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're watching Black Hollywood Live This Week. I am your host, Dario Kristen. Joining me today is Courtney Stewart.
What's up, everybody?
DJ Jesse J.
What's up?
And Aaliyah Cruz is our special guest host today.
Word.
That's all you got for him today?
That's all I got for you guys today.
That's all you got on this first week of Friday in August, you know?
I'm feeling good. What else is there to say? It sums it up.
That's right. All right, well, we got an interesting show today with a lot of good topics, including Kelly Osbourne defends being called a racist, Future slams Ciara and Russell Wilson, and Idris Elba makes history as the first male on the cover of Maxim magazine. And I see Courtney's already excited about that over there on the left side over there with her finger in her mouth and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you got real excited over there. All right.
So excited, King. Keep your eyelashes on.
Right.
Sorry, hold on.
We haven't even got to the conversation yet. You already taking off your clothes. I mean, come on now, Courtney.
That's why we're here for hot topics.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. Well, last week's buzzer meter question was, would you download the racial profiling app? We talked about that on last week's show. You guys voted. 33% of you said yes, and 67% of you said no.
Oh,
I was really surprised by that, actually.
I don't know. Based on how the actual app was in its current state, maybe not the most effective thing in the world.
You know?
Aaliyah, would you be willing to download a racial profiling app that would help maybe if you got pulled over by police or your son got pulled over by police, it would help record what's going on in the car while you're...
And give you information on your rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yes. That sounds like a great plan. It's better than just tears don't work when you get pulled over. Humor works, but that app sounds bomb.
Yeah, I'm surprised that people said no to that.
It's because they scared to reach for their phone.
Right.
Cops pulled them over.
Well, that was, and we did make that.
But you know what?
Week.
There's that moment where they walk back to their car and you're like, shit, they're looking me up. It's time to.
Sometimes that doesn't actually happen.
I usually call my parents I've been pulled over.
Yeah.
Just
when
so
they're
you know.
illegally pulling you over, the few times I've been in the car when that has occurred, they don't walk up and then walk back. They walk up and have a whole situation with you before they walk back, if they ever actually walk back at all.
That's very true.
I've had my situation.
Don't they gotta run your stuff though? They run your license, your insurance.
Not every time, especially if they're pulling you over for bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, they usually pull me over for a reason.
All right. Well, today's buzzer meter question also deals with race. It is: do you think Kelly Osbourne was out of line with her comment she made this week on The View? And we have a yes or no for that. You guys let us know what you think, and we will read those results next week. But first up, we're going to go into trending topics with DJ Jesse J.
So a lot was trending this week. Afros being one of them. So Allure magazine.
You mean afros?
Yes. Well, or as some people are
not.
saying, that's not an afro, and that's more like
a wofro.
Dready. So Allure magazine wanted to, give their respect to looks of the 70s. And within that, they put on the front cover this young, beautiful actress in a curly fro, talking about, yes, you can too. And referencing that white girls can also pull off an afro if they want to. In it, they give a very descriptive method of how to curl your hair.
And tease it. And
You know, and well, Black Twitter had an issue with this. They felt like if you're going to represent the 70s, why not put a woman of color with an afro in the magazine? Some people went on to say things like, shout out to Ignorant Intellect, who said, you, yes, white girls, you, can have an afro like black girls too, even though you're white, and added Allure magazine. Webden Boys said, white people wanting afros, but black people can't wear their hair in an afro because it's unprofessional. That's cultural appropriation. I wonder if white girls going through the airport would get patted down.
supposedly that's like the overarching rule now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What I don't understand about it, I'm just going to be real, I'm on the other side of it. Because we wear weaves, we press our hair, we go and do, like, what's the big deal?
I mean,
Like, white...
Because this wasn't like a tutorial for white girls. Like, this was supposed to be, their spread was supposed to be to, you know, give an ode to the 70s. And in the 70s, I mean, they wasn't pulling out, white girls weren't pulling out weave like that. And
They probably did it for the media attention after, you know, what happened with what's-her-face.
Rachel
Exactly. I feel like they probably were like, you know what?
Oh, white girls are in right now with fros.
well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I do have a problem with them not using any African American women in the
Entire
editorial.
spread.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But there was a lot of Twitter back and forth about white women in general wearing afros, and I just felt like, okay, we're going to contradict ourselves here because black women are wearing blonde weaves and bleaching their hair blonde and wearing blue contacts and green contacts. So what's the difference?
I feel the same way. Courtney's like,
Go ahead,
hell
Court.
no.
I want to hear it.
I want to hear it because I'm
The
open to it. I just don't
really
understand.
Simple.
Yeah.
When this white woman walks in her afro, as they described it in this magazine, it's a strong, assertive moment for a woman to take. She's not going to be told she needs to press her hair because it's unprofessional if she's walking around with that afro.
It's
she's not going to
edgy.
be told. It's edgy. It's cute. It's cool. She's not told
But you
that
don't-
she's unattractive because she's wearing her hair in an afro. So we can talk all day about women, black women wear weaves and wear their hair straight and all of that. That came out of having to do it. Not because we decided it would be fun to do it or it'd be cool to do it. I can't get certain jobs because of my hair still. Like, we just had a whole conversation last year about women in the military. If a black woman wears freaking braids in the military because that's a safe way for black women to wear their hair, they are told they cannot do that. They have to either shave their heads or not, or wear their hair straight, even though that's not the natural way that their hair grows out of their head. So that's the reason that it's different. It's because we live in a society that has said in order for us as black women to adjust and fit into the culture, we need to do certain things. And that's not to say that women that continue to do it now and don't choose to wear their hair in the natural state, like, obviously we can talk a whole thing about black
Beyonce.
women whitening themselves in a certain
Sure.
way to whatever, but that came out of a necessity of being able to work and be able to function in a society in a way that's acceptable. Every time people look at me, I still get people telling me, oh, you into that. White people will walk up to you like, oh, black power sister, black power sister. No, motherfucker,
White people
that's-
say that to you?
White people say,
I know, like, what the fuck?
Fucking time. Like,
And
I
what is your
cannot even
response?
explain to you. I'd be like,
Grant us,
really?
just give a
My
stern
response
face.
is really.
See, I think
Because
your
you
hair
can't-
is so cute.
That's
I don't know
cute,
what you're
but so
talking
you
about.
say that now, but you're not the person that's standing there telling me it's not acceptable and it's not professional. And if I'm in a business environment, so you're basically telling me that because I look like I look, I'm somehow not professional. But if your hair isn't naturally growing out straight, that's
For sure.
professional.
That's- I mean,
so
that's
Except for
it
this
comes
kind
out
of like the
necessity.
person, but you say it comes out of necessity, which I totally agree with, and I get that. But at the same time, it's like Rachel, like, okay, she is micro braiding her hair completely unnecessary. Like, that takes hours and hours and hours.
Who did she learn that
What?
from?
Please tell me, because why would you do that? If you could wake up and just, if I could wake up with straight hair and just wake up with, I would just, it'd be the easiest thing in the world.
But for
Bye.
you, but like my aunt, she has had curly hair her whole entire life, and she hated it when she was younger, but because people would tell her that it looked a certain way or it made her come off a certain way, but now she owns it, and I think that like it's kind of opposite. People who have straight hair usually want the curly hair, and it's usually the opposite of that. So
I think we can't limit the conversation to just average beauty standards, which is what we would be talking like, oh, because everybody, like, if you have straight hair, you want your hair curly. If you have curly hair, you want your hair straight, because that's not what the discussion is actually about. We cannot remove blackness from the equation specifically, and if you're going to have an article based on styles of the 70s, froze had a specific meaning in the 70s.
Yes,
and you destroyed that by doing that.
That's very true.
Because I can look at this and be like, you know
Exactly.
what, without reading anything that was going on, when I saw the picture, I was like, oh, big deal, white girls want an afro too. Like, there we go again. Like, it's not a big deal to me. But if you're trying to advertise this as something you're celebrating looks of the 70s, then show some respect to what the hell that meant. Don't just put a white girl, because maybe you have the black girl with a fro and then say, well, white girls, you can't have one naturally, but we have a way that you can figure it out. But to just make that the celebration of the 70s look, to me, is what I found offensive.
No, and it's
Not
a
that
good
she has an
explanation,
afro.
because I would have never thought of it that way without hearing your explanation for
And
it.
then,
So.
what was the introvert comment?
Hold up.
That
Love
there was
her
a-
facial
they-
expression.
I mean, but that comment comes out of the same attitude that people that walk by me talking about black power. Like, okay, so
I can't believe white people have the nerve to
the
say that.
magazine actually read, an afro is not an introvert's hairstyle, because every black woman in history that's ever worn an afro is not an introvert.
I mean,
that's
that's just who the hell is the editor?
Yeah,
editorial?
who
Editor.
accepted that? Like, who let that be out in 2015?
I don't know. Maybe it was Kelly Osbourne, because did you hear what this bitch said on The View?
I always have an opposing view to everybody on
okay,
here.
look, I think it was taken a little bit out of context because she was live and wasn't able to fully express herself. Because do I think Kelly Osbourne is a racist? No. Do I think that there's some underlying things there? Maybe.
What did she say?
Well, you didn't hear what she said?
Yeah, I did. I'm just saying.
No.
Just in case.
He started commenting on it.
Just in case you
Just in
didn't
case the
hear.
public
What did she
didn't hear
actually
it, yeah.
say?
So Donald Trump obviously is wanting to run for president. So as Kelly Osbourne was talking about him and his stance on illegal immigrants, and she felt
Mexicans.
Well, Mexicans. She went to
Because
say,
apparently they're all illegals.
right. So she went on to say basically that, Trump, well, if you get rid of these Mexicans, what are you going to do? Who's going to clean your bathroom? And
She
everyone was
said
like,
Toilet.
Toilets,
and everyone was like,
specifically, yeah.
whoa, you can't say that. Rosie Perez
Rosie
got
Perez.
upset. But she has to. She technically represents a culture up there, and she has to. Otherwise, they're going to rip her apart. But so then Raven Simone went on. Now, if you watch the extended clip, because the only one that went around was just the 30 seconds of her saying, Mexicans to clean, Latinos to clean your toilets. And so that went around. Everyone's like, oh, fuck Kelly Osbourne. She wants fucking Latinos to clean their toilets. So she said, she corrected it with Rosie and said, that is not what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. It was taken out of context. But it's a live show, so she couldn't really
She can backtrack.
Yeah. So, Twitter went in on Kelly Osbourne's entire life saying, Dear Kelly Osbourne, this is from Joe is writing, Dear Kelly Osbourne, almost half of the women in LA, 48%, are Latinas, and they're not all cleaning toilets. And then CC'd some Latinos. John Icon said, This is the reality of racism in American TV. Rosie Perez has to apologize for Kelly Osbourne after Kelly's racist remark. Now that stems from Kelly Osbourne writing this. I want to start by saying I always take responsibility for my actions. In this particular case, I will take responsibility for my poor choice of words, but I will not apologize for being a racist, as I am not. I wholehearted fucked up today. I don't want to bullshit anyone with lame excuses. Although I was stopped mid-sentence by Rosie and couldn't finish my point, I will not let Rosie take responsibility for my words. I should have known better, as I was on The View and it was live. I've learned my valuable lesson. It is a hope that this situation will open up a conversation about immigration and the Latin community as a whole. By the way, I clean my own fucking toilets. But Rosie Perez said, my apologies, Kelly Osbourne. I took your point wrong. Hashtag Trump, hashtag Latinos, my bad. Your heart is so pure and righteous. I adore you. So basically what Kelly was, in her mind, trying to say is that people come to this country and they take jobs that the average American would not. And if you don't have that community, but she put it all on one demographic.
Right.
What are y'all's thoughts?
Well, here I'm going to say this because it's opened up a bigger conversation too of people being racist or people just being dumb and ignorant making certain statements. Because here's my thing, it's like I'm on the fence with this because obviously Kelly made a big deal about Juliana's, like her whole episode with Zendaya during the Oscars and the hair and all that stuff, and she was really adamant about what she felt about Juliana being racist, right? So here's the thing: I feel like we all sometimes have made a statement that doesn't necessarily mean that we're racist. I've done it. I've said certain things. I'm not racist.
I can be racist.
And I think that people are so easily ready to jump on a comment. I'm not justifying it, because you have to, especially if you're on TV. We're on TV, we're on radio. We say stuff. There's times I've said stuff on the show, and I'm like, damn, why'd I say that? And you make that mistake. But people are I feel like the environment we're in right now, it's obviously very sensitive. And people will jump on any comment and just ready to call you racist. Do I think that Kelly's racist? I wouldn't say that she was racist from her statement. I think that sometimes she has like a weird sense of humor too, that she might have been trying to be funny, or maybe it slipped out of her mouth too quickly. I'm not going to call her racist. Do I think it was a dumb, ignorant statement? Absolutely. But do I say that probably half of America has made a dumb, ignorant statement at one point about another race, and are they racist because of that? That's kind of where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah, more ignorance than anything.
Bernie, do you have an opinion?
I don't think she's racist. I was actually watching it when it happened, and it was quite obvious, even as the words were coming out of her mouth, that the way she expressed, I don't think I personally, if you're of any, I don't want to call people dumb, if you have a brain and you're watching, like through listening to the conversation, you knew what she was trying to say.
Right.
How she said it was very impolite and unkind and not representative
almost
of who
very
I think
entitled
she is.
too. It was more entitled.
But at the same time,
What was entitled about it?
Her life isn't entitled.
Her life is almost like.
But at the same time, it's kind of like when black people get offended, like by the fact that we make movies about the help. There are a large majority, especially in Southern California, which is where Kelly has been living for quite some time, of domestic workers that work in homes that are doing that. But to say that cleaning your toilets, it's harsh, it's not kind, and it's not respectful of the work that they are doing, because there's nothing to be ashamed of if you're cleaning a toilet and taking care of your family, and we shouldn't have to feel like that's not something that can be spoken about because they are cleaning toilets. Right. It doesn't matter, because what they're doing is respectable work. So I don't think in watching, because I obviously watched the show and I was watching when it happened, she obviously looked immediately, like as it was coming out, like
she realized,
that is not how that needed to come out.
Yeah.
The reason I give it a bigger pass too, because everybody's like, oh, when she jumped down Juliana's throat and blah blah blah. Juliana had producers that wrote stuff for her. They got to read that beforehand, decide if they were going to do that joke. That is different than just speaking your mind live off the cuff, than sitting looking at something and not paying attention to what's going on, even when it's brought to your attention, and still doing it anyway. That's why I have an issue with Allure magazine, because that went through a whole lot of people before that went to print. So to just be on live television trying to have honest conversation and trying to be real and talk about serious stuff, some shit will happen. You put your foot in your mouth. She definitely put her foot in her mouth. It was rude. Rosie recognized that she put her foot in her mouth, and that but the emotional offense that Rosie initially had is fair, because we all kind of have those moments, especially when we're talking about black people and doing stuff like that. So I get it, but to call the girl racist, like, I don't know her.
But how do you feel about the fact that, like that Twitter person said, how racist American TV is that Rosie had to apologize to Kelly?
I don't think Rosie had to apologize, because I don't think Rosie would have apologized if she did not sincerely believe she should apologize, because Rosie ain't trying to keep that spot on her show. She's going on.
But it's like if one of us said something, like we know each other so well that it's like we all know we aren't racist. So if somebody slips up and says something that's meant in humor, it's like we're gonna have their back. So I feel like it was more like that.
Or even if you say something that I take offense to, I don't always agree with you, but I'm not gonna if you say something that is really offensive to me and I jump down your throat, that's not fair. Because in the end, we can still talk about, look, that offended me and this and that. Rosie attacked her on TV too, so that was
she did kind of comment kind of crazy. I watched the clip and I felt like, personally, I feel like we're just too sensitive. Like, I didn't take the Trump things sensitively. I didn't take the Kelly Osborne thing sensitively. I didn't take the Juliana thing sensitively. It's just
humor. You're also a comedian.
Yes.
It's totally different with comedian brains.
Maybe, but I feel like, to me, it's like racism has hit such a plateau. It's fucking dated. It's so dated. And at this point, it's like time to move forward. So unless we can poke humor at a little bit of our differences, then it becomes hatred and an ugly thing.
This was
If Rosie wouldn't have interrupted her, it was a joke. It was meant to be like, Treble, who's cleaning your toilets then? Like, who's gonna clean your toilets?
But I don't think that was a joke, because she's serious.
But it isn't.
I don't think she meant it in that statement, but I don't.
It was humorous. I laughed. I laughed. I wanted to laugh harder if Rosie didn't bust up the punchline.
But it wasn't just Rosie, because
Like-
I was even surprised by Raven be like, "Oh, you can't say." Well,
She knew as she was saying it though, because she was slowly saying it.
If you're on television and you are somebody, all of us are somebody, something. Things mean different things when they come out of different people's mouths, point blank, period. So, in the end, whatever her actual opinions of black people, white people, Mexicans, whatever, she is a privileged white woman that has to be aware of that when she's speaking.
Right.
And that's to me, that's in life, that's in anywhere
is her
else. Because people are like,
responsibility.
I shouldn't have to censor myself. And it's not about censorship. It's about being respectful of the position that you are in versus the position that other people are in, and the things that you were saying mean shit.
You're right, but let's not say
wait.
racist. Let's get rid of that word because at the
agree.
end of the
Yeah,
day,
but that's
none of
racist.
these
None
people
of
were
us think
racist.
she's
I don't think
racist.
that she's racist. I don't think that Juliana's racist. I don't think that Trump's racist. Like, let's take the sensitivity out of it
do
and
you
say, like,
think
racist
Rosie was
isn't the word.
stopping that
Insensitive,
sentence?
maybe.
I actually think
Do you
that
think
Trump
Rosie
is
was
kinda
stopping
racist.
that sentence?
You do think that was racist?
I think Trump is kind of racist.
I don't really think
That's
so.
the culmination, though. It's not. Trump has not only made one comment about Mexicans. Don't get it twisted. Trump has made quite a few comments over the last 30 years about
Still don't think he's
women
racist.
and minorities that are not cool.
Maybe
So-
not, but I don't know.
Well, we
I
gotta
think
say
At least we know where he
our
stands. At
black
least like that's
people-
like a
But
better
I
to
think-
trust the devil you know than the one you don't.
Okay,
I mean, but
my
that
thing
doesn't mean
is
you don't
Rosie-
call them who they are.
But I don't think he's a racist. Racist is such a, it's such
I
a
think he
harsh
knows
word.
how to push buttons, and he plays off of pushing
And
buttons.
that's what he's doing.
And that's what he does.
Maybe
But
right
ABC
now.
is also it's hard to find that episode now because ABC yanked it from Hulu. So
Really?
hopefully you saw it because
But they
it's hard to
shouldn't have
find
done
online
that.
now.
They should get rid of the clip because the clip that they cut it
What
off.
clip?
There's a
They
clip.
just cut.
There's a clip.
They
clip
only
of this.
cut it, but
And they-
anybody could do that.
Of
They could,
this?
like, take it. Yeah, that they just took. They only took the portion
Oh my
of
gosh,
what
we
she
are
said.
so PC. Are you serious? They took that out?
Yeah,
No,
but
no, no.
listen,
We're saying that people took the clip and used it, but ABC has got the whole episode like not around.
yeah, they cut it.
Ridiculous.
That is ridiculous because I will say this about Juliana versus Kelly. Look at the apology Kelly said. Look, you know what? I will take ownership that I did say it, but at least it opens up a conversation. Juliana ain't thinking about no one's conversation. She ain't even thinking about the conversation that she had with the joke. And that's where it goes back to versus something scripted versus something naturally happening and her acknowledging it. Rosie had to make a comment there because in the moment you're on live television and here's this woman who just said that Latinos clean fucking toilets. Rosie's sitting up here like, bitch, I'm on the same table as you. And she represents that community. So I'm not mad at Rosie for stepping in the way she did.
No.
Because that's what they do on The View. So whatever. Moving on from that. Whatever your favorite TV show is, maybe it is The View. Unfortunately, we don't cover that here. We cover that here at Black Hollywood Live. But over at our sister site, AfterBuzz TV, whatever your favorite TV show is, as soon as it's done, make sure you head over to AfterBuzzTV.com and we will be talking about it.
All right, thank you, Jesse. Now we're going to move on to gossip with Courtney Stewart.
So not exciting compared to that conversation.
I know, right?
No. Well, this might
Well,
incite some
actually-
people to have some
Actually, it is,
conversation. Okay, so this week, Future and Ciara are back in the streets. And
Having beef.
gossip running around because they got to put all their business on social media. So basically what happened is Ciara was on a Sunday over the weekend. She took her son, baby Future. I'm so bothered by the fact she named that child Future.
I'm
That child
super
is
bothered
so
by that.
cute. I could eat him alive.
But I'm
He's
mad that his
adorable.
name's Future.
She took baby Future to her new boyfriend, Russell Wilson, plays for the Seattle Seahawks. He was at practice because, you know, football season's getting all ramped up, ready to go.
Looking all types of good.
So he was at practice and she brought the baby. Now, in the
Looks
pictures
good.
that we have, the baby's wearing a little white shirt. In some other pictures, the baby had a replica of Russell Wilson's jersey and was hanging out with Russell, giving him hugs and kisses like, hey, daddy. Well, Future was not pleased because obviously Russell Wilson ain't his daddy. So Future decided to take it upon himself to go on Twitter and he had a few things to say. He used a few expletives and he said the following. He posted a tweet that said, never make a permanent decision over a temporary circumstance. I'm too bossed up. Don't direct my tweets to no punk ass hoe. This internet shit mad funny, yo.
Was
It's
that a
really
rap?
funny how I read
Was
that.
Yeah, I
It was grammatically
that was
perfection.
Perfect. Yeah, that was perfect. Perfect.
Future,
So
you man.
everybody was upset because, on Instagram, people are like tagging Future on the pictures because Ciara goes and posts the damn pictures and the photographers are all over the place and so the pictures are everywhere and of course people want to know what he thinks. And then apparently like all kinds of celebrities decided they should chime in because when the pictures got posted and then Future made the comment, like everybody went ape shit because they all got to have an opinion on whether or not Future should be hanging out or baby Future should be hanging out with his not daddy, and everybody had some ideas. Some people were mad like, oh, she shouldn't have him with her baby daddy and not his baby daddy and she ain't got a baby daddy and all that. And then Future posted another picture later on in the week that showed that he got Ciara's ring back.
Okay.
That makes you trifling. I'm sorry because you the one cheated. But anyway, he took the ring back and he had his middle finger up to show. I mean, I guess to show like I don't give a fuck. I don't know.
But
Yeah.
clearly
But
you do.
T.I. chimed in. Because apparently somebody commented, hold on, how did this happen? Somebody posted on his Instagram, like posing the question, do you think it's okay, basically, that Ciara's got her son with this other guy? And T.I. responded and said, I'd go the F off, bro. Shit out of line to me, but that's just me. And then Amber Rose decided she was going to tweet,
bye.
so happy,
We are like, oh,
so
wow.
happy for Ciara.
Oh, okay.
And then Nicki Minaj made a little comment on somebody's Instagram that seemed like she was throwing a little shade at Future because she favorited a tweet,
yeah.
that said Russell with the greater than symbol. For those of y'all that don't know, that's the little, arrow. Russell greater than Future, and she favorited that tweet. So everybody's like, ooh,
go
the
Nicki.
shade, ooh, the shade. So
But Nikki, you need to focus on your baby, Meek Mills, and what he's doing on Twitter, not what Future.
So there you go. The big argument is
Oh my god, I'm so not involved. I have no idea. I didn't even
Yeah,
know
but
that
here's the
Nicki
thing.
Minaj had a baby.
I'm gonna say
No,
this.
not her baby.
No, not her baby.
Meek
Meek Mills
acting like a baby.
Meek Mill is the baby, apparently.
So as a man,
Are y'all mad? that
as a man,
Ciara-
I would be a little bit perturbed if my woman had my
be around
baby
your child more.
all around
Maybe you
this
should've
new
not
man.
cheated on your
all right,
baby mama.
I hear you. I
Maybe
hear you
you
in the
should not have,
circumstance.
like,
But
5
as a
other
man and
kids.
having an ego, I would definitely be a little perturbed by that. If my baby's all on social media,
But don't say
with-
nothing.
all
You're
on
a
social
grown ass
I
man.
hear
It makes you look
I
weaker
hear
than you are.
and I agree with you. But it's ego. I'm just saying,
Right.
It's ego.
Well, do
And
you
it-
think it's
but-
wrong
but-
that she has this young
Nope.
baby around
Nope.
this new
No,
boyfriend
this is
after only
actually
about
no.
3
This is
months?
what I'm gonna say. This is why I don't think it's wrong because allegedly the rumor has it is that Russell's about to propose to her. So they say that he is looking at rings.
That's weird,
all right?
3 months, but
I mean, but that's what they're saying. They said that he's thinking about proposing to her, and he just signed what 87.6 million for a 4-year deal with
that's why
Seahawks.
Future mad.
That's why Future's mad, let's be honest. You got my baby up in photos and you making cheddar like that? Come on now. Every man's going to be mad about that. Now, I just think the kids should not be in the pictures at all, personally. That's
But
my
that's
own
gonna
personal
happen.
opinion.
No, you know what though? They're
but you don't
both a
have
little
to
bit
flaunt,
faulty.
You don't have to flaunt the baby all in the social media
They're
pictures.
both
You don't have
faulty.
to. There's lots of people who do not
Thank
put their
you.
children in social media pictures. I'm
But
sorry.
Gwen
It
Stefani
says I
doesn't
barely
like
put
kid-
any of my son on media, but I'll tell you this. This is what I think they're both wrong. Number one, she don't need to put it on right away. It's too fresh. Like you don't
It's
need
fresh.
to rub it in his
Yeah, it's
face.
3
But
months.
she
So-
didn't take these pictures.
But she put it on her
But
Instagram.
But she took her baby.
She
to
took
the
her baby
practice.
to the
Who cares
practice.
if she took the
Knowing
baby?
there's
And
paparazzi.
wearing
But
his
you know
shirt.
paparazzi is
You know-
all
right,
around.
Right.
But on the other side of things, like Future, like as a man, I feel like don't comment because
woman.
you don't say anything. If you don't say anything, then there won't be nothing. Like you know what I mean? Like don't give him the satisfaction. Like you never see like Will Smith or anybody like at a certain caliber like replying to this stuff.
Well,
Like you just say
Jada's not gonna do
nothing.
that, though.
What does Jay-Z say? He's got pictures of like some alleged kid of his all over the place. He never says anything. It's the smartest thing to do.
But
Just
my thing is like Future. Like first of all, you're irritated because she sang a damn song about it.
And moved on.
You gonna be mad, bitch. You gonna be mad. Like I'm sorry. Like you know what I mean. So the reality is here's why I'm not mad. These celebrities have paparazzi everywhere. So what? She's not gonna continue the rest of her life. I don't know if Future take care of the kid. I don't know how often Future sees the child. I don't know that personal information, so I can't judge that. But what I can say is that if Ciara feels some sort of way because you cheated, you stepped out on the relationship, and now she's not with you, and she's carrying on with someone who's willing to, you know what? I'm willing to not have sex with you. I'm willing to get to know you and do this. Why can she not bring that child to a fucking game? I understand she's Ciara. I understand paparazzi's going to be there, but why can you not live that lifestyle?
I just think it's disrespectful to have the baby all up in Russell's arms on social media.
Why is it disrespectful? Future, then take the child on the weekend.
It's too soon. It's 3 months.
Take the child on the weekend.
I don't know. It took me like 5 or 6 years before I let my son be in photos with another guy.
For a year, I'm okay with it. But
everybody is different. I'm not mad at her.
I'm
not mad at her, but I just think they both need to.
Listen, if she had gone to the camp and it was just her and she wants to wear his jersey all day long and have her titties out, I have no problem with it. The baby, I do have a problem with it.
But clearly the kid gets along with him. We don't know if Russell's...
But the baby's a baby. At the end of the day...
They get along with everybody.
Yeah, the baby doesn't know any different.
And I think it's kind of... Okay. Really, I'm going to say I don't care. But if I have to care, my opinion would be... He just got divorced, y'all. Don't forget. Russell is recently divorced.
So is Future and Ciara.
But that's my point. You're bringing your child into a situation and making it a family after 2 months. God willing, it's great. Everything's awesome. It's going to work out, and it's going to be beautiful. In regular lifetime and what's really going on, generally, that's a little bit fast to be having your kid booed up and building bonds with another man.
I agree.
Even if you think right now, because we not having sex, we going to get married in 3 months and we done found God and all, I hope and I believe it is true, but if that is the case, then it is actually okay for you to hold on to your baby for a little bit longer because your baby's going to be able to develop those bonds anyway. It's not like a situation where your kid is like 12 years old and they got to kind of see if they like them first. You know, it's a different situation because it's a baby. So why I just wouldn't I personally would not expose my brand new toddler until I was like, ring on it, we about to be married.
I feel you. I have a 12-year-old right now myself, and I have not introduced him to 2 guys, and one I was living with for 8 years, and the other one I thought I was going to marry. So, I mean, I feel you. You want to protect your child.
But even you waited how long for that? And
I waited
still didn't work
I waited a year and a
you know
half.
I mean?
I thought it was going to work. I'm a chump.
But you can never be sure of that. And so my thing is, I don't know what Future's situation is. And Ciara may be looking at it like there's no man.
Future for her.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's why
I think that she does some stuff to get
No,
back
but I'm saying, what if Future ain't there? What if he's not in the picture and she's looking at it like there's no man around my child?
At the end of the day, it's about the baby, and like we should protect the baby, and that should be both of their goals at the end of the day. So however that comes about,
and protect him from, because I personally, he's real young to be being photographed and all out with all this.
He looks good right here. With the only photo I saw of me, he looked like he had a Jerry curl, like a frozen Jermaine Jackson. Like
everything.
I was like, why is she with? That's what somebody else said. He's fine. I don't know. I never heard of him.
He's kind of
I'm not a sports person. I never know an athlete unless you just really happen to be super tall.
Like Great Gatsby or something.
All right, let's move on because clearly they're going to be in the media again sometime soon.
Yes, let's move on. What's next?
More nonsense. Okay, so just speaking of Will and Jada. So I woke up Tuesday morning. I'm looking at my Facebook feed and announcement, and I can't remember what site, but it was like a legit site. It was either like BET.com or like Time or something. And I really like the comparison. But I'm just saying it was like something for real.
BET or Time.
Because if you see it on like Media Takeout, you're like, whatever. But there was a legit site that was reporting it. Mind you, I've searched my butt off trying to find that article and I cannot find it. But anyway, they were reporting that it's official. Will and Jada are done. And I was like, no. Because usually I'm a firm believer, like, that when there's smoke, there's usually a fire. And there's been smoke forever. So I was like, well, I guess the time has come and it's finally over. Okay.
I hope there's so many rumors.
I know, right? Because it's been so many rumors for so many years, like, whatever. So basically, these sites were reporting, like, seriously, that the breakup is happening. It's been brewing for years. Inside sources. They were waiting for contracts to get in place and blah, 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 blah. So it like seemed for real legit. So legit that people made their way over to Will Smith's Facebook and his Twitters and all that stuff, and they were sending their condolences, and they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that this is happening to you guys. You guys were wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And as we mentioned earlier, Miss Leah mentioned that Will Smith never actually comments on the nonsense, and Jay-Z doesn't comment on the nonsense. Well, apparently the nonsense was so strong this time, y'all. Will was like, okay, I can't take this shit no more. And he gave y'all a notice on his Facebook. And this is what he said. Quote, under normal circumstances, I don't usually respond to foolishness because it's contagious. But so many people have extended me their deepest condolences that I figured, what the hell? I can be foolish too. So, in the interest of redundant, repetitious, over and over again-ness, Jada and I are not getting a divorce! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I promise you all, if I ever decide to divorce my queen, I swear I'll tell you myself. Hashtag dumb people should have to wear scarlet D's. And scene.
Tip.
No, I mean, what do you really say to that?
Well, here's my thing.
Shut
You know,
it down.
unfortunately, in these celebrity marriages, when those rumors start, there usually is some type of truth
Substance
to it.
to it, yeah.
And what I seem to see, I forgot who it was. There was an example I was going to give, but it was a couple that they denied,
Yep.
and then later on, like maybe a year afterwards, they ended up getting a divorce. I got to think about who it is.
I mean, they're all Ben
But
Affleck
you know,
and
because they're
Jada.
not going to do it at the time that everyone thinks they're going to do it. You know
gotta
what I
wait
mean?
till their movie's
They're gonna
about
wait
to
till their
come
movie.
out,
Like
then.
Ben Affleck. They said that he wanted to announce it before Batman was coming out, so he wouldn't get all of the, backlash from that. And you know, we've been battling these rumors forever. I mean, here's the sad thing. I was actually thinking about. Is it that we as people are just so ready for people to not have a lasting relationship and get divorced? Like, to me, there's a bigger sadness to this whole thing, that we're ready to
it makes
jump
me
on
sad.
and pounce on the fact that people are getting divorced, and that we want to talk about it in media. You know, to me, that's the sadder picture.
I don't know why who's the couple that's like lasted? Like
Celine Dion and her manager. That's the only people I'm really like.
I mean, even Gwen
Selena
Stefani
Renee.
and
Gab-
They're both to get divorced.
They're getting divorced, and I like them as a
13
couple.
years.
You know.
It always makes me sad, but it's not like I read the
Jada
Will
wrote,
Smith
"My
comment.
king has spoken,"
Oh, that's
Exactly,
right.
that's so cute.
until they get a divorce in
Till they
2
get a
months.
divorce.
Right.
And if they get in a divorce in a month, I'm gonna be like,
I hope they last. I mean,
Will?
Willow Smith.
I'm just kidding,
Willow
I'm just
Smith
kidding.
commented on this whole thing. Alfonso Ribeiro said, he
Yeah,
was
he
on.
commented.
He said they have an amazing relationship. I mean, they got everybody rooting for them.
But see,
you know what I mean?
being in Hollywood, that is actually what makes me uncomfortable.
Because how many
Right.
people
That
said
they
Bill
have
Cosby
now
didn't sleep with him?
responded, and everybody's chiming in to help
Right.
them out. Like, it almost seems
Like
too
PR.
orchestrated.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm like, and I was trying to think, I'm like, Will ain't got a movie coming out right now. Jada's movie just came out.
No,
Like,
he
what
does
are
have a
they-
movie coming out.
Squad.
That's right.
He has two. That one, and then he's got the Bad Boys, the next Bad Boys.
But that's next 2000.
No, but there is
No,
with
but
that
so-
white girl again too.
the pretty white girl, with the
Yeah.
white hair.
But they're
Focus
doing
that he
another.
did. They're
no,
doing another one.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
doing
see,
Focus
that's
too?
what the word.
No, not
that's
Focus.
That they
what
were
the word
cheating,
is that
supposedly.
he
Cheating on
He
set.
went a little
Yeah.
too far with,
Yeah.
because everybody knows word on the street is that they play around and do their thing.
But Jada said in an interview, she said, I like watching a voyeuristic, like I like seeing my man.
So there's words on the street that they have marriage situations.
Hey, whatever works to keep it
whatever
together.
works. I mean, it's kept them together for
It's tough.
17
No
years.
judgment, no
It's tough
judgment.
these days.
Judging.
I'm the
Whatever
worst.
keeps it
I
hot,
can't
sexy,
judge.
sexual.
But what the
I'm not
inside
judging.
sources were saying was that the Margot Robbie thing from that movie Focus, when they were shooting in Brazil and stuff, it went too far. And that is what supposedly has been sort of the big rift that's making it all happen. So
Well, let's pray that that's not the case.
I mean,
Yeah.
they could pray their way through it. You know, they done left Scientology apparently completely.
did?
That's what I heard.
That's what word on the
That's the
street
word on the
is.
street
They
is,
got
yeah.
their and we found this out because apparently they filed their 2013 tax returns, said that, you know, that school they had open like to help Scientology or whatever, they got a full refund from that. And one of the representatives of the Scientology church officially stated that they have been completely removed from, they're not in the church anymore. So
Interesting.
that's
I
interesting.
see their kids all the time. They got those bodyguards at the I'm not gonna say where.
up the street.
Right.
So I don't know. They've been going through it, but I mean, in the
Not
end,
on here.
Yeah.
marriage in general doesn't go so well in this country. Our divorce rate is like what 58% or
Yeah, it's
something right now.
ridiculous.
So
It's crazy.
it's not surprising if it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
I mean, in their marriage, they've been together what, like
17 years.
17 years. That's basically 30 years in a regular household.
The only reason why marriage doesn't work now, this is gonna sound so dated and like crazy, but it's the truth. I feel the only reason why marriage doesn't work is because we sleep around too much. We have entirely
We put sex on a pedestal.
we just have a lot of sex with multiple partners, and not a lot per se, but
No.
like go back like 60 years, we have a lot in comparison. So when you have a partner and you get used to being with them and you're
You
with
have
them
an
for a certain time, and then
expectation.
you cut it off, and then it's somebody new, and then it's somebody, and that's how your
Yeah, but
brain has
60
now
also
trained.
people have always been having sex. They
Yeah,
just
but-
hit it differently 60
yeah,
years
but
ago.
no, I also think it's different because we have
Partially,
apps.
but-
We have apps, hot or not. Instagram.
We have cell
you get
phones.
To select.
I mean,
We
sure.
have
No, but beyond that-
sexualized our entire society,
sure.
including
No,
our
but-
children.
No, but think
You
about
can
when you just had a
swipe left if they're
landline.
ugly,
You
swipe
aren't gonna
right.
give a guy you're thinking about creeping on with a low your phone number that, like, let's say Dario and I
Yeah.
live together. You ain't gonna be like, yo, Jesse.
The access is much.
Right.
It doesn't make
You're right.
exactly.
You're
It doesn't
right.
make any sense.
You're right.
And porn is easier to come by, so we have. But no, we
Dum-dum-dum.
have
Just think about your
unrealistic
statement.
images.
Yeah, no, and I'm telling
You're
you
right.
guys,
Shut
Porn
up,
is
Derek.
easier to come
No,
by.
it is
You're
easier to come
exactly
by.
right.
It's
Honestly,
free.
But it's free
And
it's
any
available
fetish
to
you
everyone
want.
at any point, and so we have these like mixed up ideas.
But I don't
about
even think just
how we should be
porn.
coming.
I think that porn has made me
I
messed
don't
up.
think it's
I
porn.
can't get past
Honestly, I
the
don't
porn.
think
Because
it's
I love porn and now I can't
But
commit.
porn
I don't
is
think it's porn by
No,
itself.
but
but
porn is a fantasy situation, whereas Instagram is you get to sit here and look. This person's cute.
Instagram is also a
this
fantasy.
person's not cute. Unlike
It's
yeah,
all
but,
the same
but
place
it's not
in our
because you
brains.
can literally contact that person. You can't contact a porn star.
What I'm saying,
But it's like,
not
at
about
least you
the
get to
porn
meet
stars,
people,
it's about
though.
the
You can.
image of who Dario knows firsthand.
Actually, you can. But that's a
Go to
different
the
game.
porn
I'm just
expo.
saying it's the image and the idea and the expectation once you get with a person, like what they're willing to do, what they should look like, how they should look like over this. Like if you've been with somebody for 35 years, you change. You're not going to look like the regular 25-year-old porn girl or porn guy that's doing the thing. So things change and people's ideas.
I don't know why people think that though, because I like the porn. I like to Google like
I don't
ugly
think it has
people
a-
porn
it's more to
because
me
I
about
want to see
social
some
media.
jiggle. I
think
just
it's
want
all
to see
in
like
the
a
same-
little.
Now we got one of Leah's porn
got
fantasy.
She wants jiggly.
You
I don't want a
Tinder has
perfect
become a
person. I don't
sex
want a
life.
woman on top that's like is just doesn't move.
I don't even know what that conversation
I don't know,
is
but
about
all I
right now.
know,
I was like, what?
if you also like it jiggly like Aaliyah does, you can check out some of our other Black Hollywood Live programming on iTunes. I'm sure you can find some show that they're talking about
like
jiggling.
realistic, like if you have fake, it doesn't move. It's just like sitting there.
Exactly. You can check out Fashion 401 because they may talk about the jiggle on there. Maybe they talk about the jiggle on the beat, or you can talk about the jiggle on portraits. But we have about 15 different shows. We really want to know what you guys are talking about and know what you guys love about the programming at Black Hollywood Live.
Who wants a
You've been giving us
perfect
great
person?
feedback and letting us know what you really want us to fine tune and what you want us to change, and some things not at all. So give us a 5 rating if you can. If you don't, let us know what you do and don't like, and we will be sure to change the jiggle for you and change our programming in any way we can.
They're like remove
of
Aaliyah.
making us
Check.
Remove Aaliyah check from this week. No, just playing. All right, now we're
make
going
it
to move on to the EUR Women's Story Spotlight of the Week.
That'll make it jiggle.
Spotlight of the week.
Well, this subject is making many people jiggle, especially women and some men as well. Idris Elba has graced the cover of the September
jiggle.
fashion issue of Maxim magazine. He is the first male to ever cover this magazine. Here's what the editor-in-chief, Kate Lanpierre, said about the cover with Idris on it. We've never in U.S. Maxim history had a man on the cover solo. This is the very first time, and there was no one else in the world more badass than Elba. So, there's been lots of rumors also that he may be playing the next Bond, or there's been petitions from fans to have him play the next Bond. Apparently in this Maxim magazine, he talks about that and addresses it, and he talks about that he doesn't really feel it's going to happen because he feels that, this is something that the fans are really pushing for, but that you can't put it out in the universe like that without it like not. He doesn't really feel like it's going to happen. So hopefully, it will happen, but what do you guys think about him being on the cover of the magazine?
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
He is fine.
Speaking of porn,
I think he's
know
married.
what magazine I'm
No,
purchasing.
see, I'm
this week.
literally looking it up. 'cause
Yes, I
don't
think he's
remember-
married,
I
and,
think
like, it makes me
he's
feel
not
guilty
married,
because-
he's
I don't think he's married. I
divorced.
think he's divorced.
He had a baby.
He has a baby.
recently, but
Idris.
he didn't marry. He's divorced. He's
Yeah.
not married right now.
Single.
So
He's single.
Well, the cover's dope as hell. I mean,
Yeah.
and
he's
I
been
like
married
the.
twice.
I prefer the other photo of him though. That photo is like.
the one of him in the suit should have been on front.
the shoes and
Period.
the-
This one
yeah.
makes him look a little homeless. Like, where's the other photo?
That's fine. I'll give him a home.
He's
Okay,
still.
baby.
You can have a home.
He can. Yeah. I made him used to dudes living off of
open
me.
up that
Come
coat
on,
and I'll get in there.
then.
He look like my type.
Well, I just think it's pretty amazing. Not only that a man has kind of graced his cover,
Just
but that
open
it's a
the
black
cover.
man gracing the
I
cover.
mean,
as well.
GQ's done the same kind of. They see that one is on point.
That's my favorite.
That one's
right
good.
there.
My favorite is the other one
I'm
on the
feeling that
chair.
suit.
Ooh,
That one too.
that
Those
one
shoes
can
are
get
fire,
it.
though.
Okay,
Idris-
Look at
that's
the
the
straight guy.
one.
Look at the straight guy. Those shoes are really fire. Ain't no one looking at them damn shoes.
Hey, the shoes, they're
Looking at
fire.
the tightness of them around his thighs.
Hey now.
All right, well, clearly, Elba, Idris, you're going to sell a lot of magazines because this shoe right now is on
Oh my
fire
gosh!
from this picture.
He is really
That
letting.
jacket's dope.
He
looks like he would be aggressive, doesn't he?
That's why you're like, take me to England, brother.
50 Shades of Idris.
There you go.
50 Shades of
That would have
Elba.
made that movie way more interesting.
Sure would have, because that movie was.
50 Shades of
Because the
Black.
book was, but the movie, I just.
Well, go support the magazine. Go pick it up. It's on the newsstands right now. You can do whatever you need to do while you have the magazine at home.
Sometimes.
Oh my God.
If you're single,
there
you
you
do
go.
what you got to do.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our last topic of the week, which is baffles me a lot. It's Ben Carson again, who's in the news, the Black Republican who is running for 2016 presidential race. He has said a lot of things recently, and one of the things one of the things he just said was that he doesn't understand Black Lives Matter. He doesn't understand why we separated and why it shouldn't be all lives matter. He's expressed a lot of skepticism about the subject and also about it being a silly subject and argument for us to have. Here's what he said. We need to talk about what the real issues are and not get caught up in silliness like this matters or that matters. He also said he thinks the distinction between Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter is political correctness going amok. What do you guys think about his statements?
Courtney. Jesse's like ready.
I would like to not comment on Ben Carson because I was hoping, like, as I watched the debate last night, that Ben Carson would, like, say something to make me say, okay, I get it. No, it didn't happen.
I don't. Just
You
like
feel like
But
that?
he had a funny moment. He had a funny moment when he was closing last night on the debates. But in terms of this actual comment, like, it doesn't surprise me. Like, I get it. Like, I don't want to be that, like, aggressive Black person, like, constantly saying
You're being an
that
extrovert,
you're
Courtney.
missing the freaking point. You're missing the freaking point. And if you want to talk, and it gets under my skin when I hear people say we're not talking about the real issue and we divide ourselves. That's not truth, because the point has still remained over the history of, we have proof. We are in this place because we have refused for hundreds of years to admit and talk about the race problem in America and to determine that Black people are treated differently and that there are things that are happened differently and that we have set up an entire society based on those differences, and that is why we're in the position we are in now. So to pretend like that's not fair, and that's and if you have Black Lives Matter, why can't you have all that? Nobody said all lives don't matter. This is a very specific issue about a civil rights issue in this country that has to do with police brutality and over-aggressive policing across the board that specifically targets Black people more often than white people. That's not saying that white people aren't targeted. That's not saying that poor people aren't targeted. That is just saying that overwhelmingly, statistically speaking, it looks like the Black folks are struggling a little bit harder than everybody else in this particular issue.
Right.
So it just irritates, like, you're too smart for that. You're a freaking neurosurgeon, and he did this whole thing on the debate last night that I'm a neurosurgeon and I deal with the brain, and inside we're all the same. Yeah, we know that, which is why it's that much more of a problem, because inside we actually are the same, but somehow on the outside we can't figure out how to treat each other the same. So don't bullshit me and tell me that somehow it's not the case that that some people have been treated differently over the course of this life of this country, and that somehow we're all equal now because you decided.
I just don't even take them seriously.
You know what though? I always disagree with you guys, all three of you. But at the same time, it's like this, Courtney. I understand to your point because I posted like back in like last November, like Black Lives Matter, like something on Facebook, and my own aunts were like, I have white aunts. They were all like, all lives matter, and I was like, excuse me? Like, nobody was saying that all lives don't matter. I'm just saying Black Lives Matter. Get it? So, like, I was offended by that, so I understand your point. But at the same time, I thought that Ben Carson, he's not going to be our next president. He's too weak. Let's be real. But I feel like his point about when they said, what do you feel about racism? And he said, I'm a neurosurgeon. I don't think about racism. Like, when I go into operate on a brain is a brain. And he's right about that. And I think he'd make an awesome running mate for Trump. So, guys, that's how I first Courtney's
I mean,
like.
they can both go run on the same island.
That's to say, like, the reason it's actually really upsetting
Why?
is because, we are very clear that our brains inside, we all bleed the same. We all die the same. But why the fuck are my kids dying more than yours are? That's not okay. And if we want to keep pretending like that doesn't exist because we're all the same on the inside, that's not solving the problem.
Right.
That's not making the cops stop pulling over Black men and telling them they ain't shit pregnant and putting them up against cars and shooting them for grabbing a phone. It doesn't fix anything. It's a utopian idea that we would all love to exist in, but that's not the reality I walk in every day. That's a luxury that you have that I don't.
Maybe, but at the same time, we can't sit here and keep rehashing like the problems, and not focus on a freaking solution. What's the solution? But what's the solution? Let's stop focusing on the problem and start focusing on the solution.
The solution has been constantly told that you have to actually accept that there is a problem in order
Courtney,
to determine a
did
solution.
you know that like right now of abortions, over 50% of abortions are had by African Americans. And do you know that the initial Margaret Sanger, I can bring you all the way back, Margaret Sanger, who had started the pro-abortion movement, had gone into poor black communities and told these people like, look, yo, you can't afford your child. So if you can't afford to take care of your child, then you should have an abortion. It was a form of genocide. And still to this day, all the black women that I know personally that have had abortions, when I say, you know, to my girlfriends, like, well, why did you do that? Like, I can't afford it right now. It's this, and then what's sick to me about that is that it's been underrooted. So let's start all there.
But then
let's start there because it's still.
That only adds to the point
I don't
that
agree.
This is a society that has been built
if
on.
I don't agree because
the mentality.
because most black women don't know that Margaret Sanger ever even existed.
And okay, but
Right.
but that's
first of all, that's another. That's partially also another conversation.
Right.
In addition, the statistics of abortion are skewed into believing that that is actually the case because the reality is that white women, because of a class situation, generally have more money. They can go into a doctor and have a D&C that is not classified as an abortion the same way that it is at Planned Parenthood. So we don't actually know, statistically speaking, that is correct.
But if you go into an abortion clinic and you have an abortion and you are Latino or are black, you can get the abortion for free, at least in Los Angeles.
But the point is still that that's where they're taking the statistics.
It's genocide.
Right, but why, if you're black or Latino, can you have it for free?
Because it's genocide.
But why are you looking at it differently?
What do you mean? I'm not. I think it's wrong.
No, but so what I'm saying, it's genocide. So what you're admitting to is that there is a separation. Of demographic.
No, I agree that there's a separation of demographic, but let's not bash. Let's not banish. Let's not.
He's in the medical field. He should at least, if we're talking about this specific health
But
situation.
why focus on the negative? We know the negative. It's negative. Let's focus on
in order
positive.
to fix it, there has to be conversation about it. You can't fix a problem by saying, okay, that exists. Let's move forward like this, like this.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, because you can't say, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. What's the solution? What's the solution? I'm sick of the problem. What's the solution?
There's no sitting down and saying, hey, look, I understand that this is your problem. How we're going to solve this is by A, B, C, and D. There's no conversation of that. What the conversation...
That's what the conversation has to be, and that's my point. I'm so sick of the racism conversation.
We're all equal.
But that's not what
That's what he said. He said, when I open up a brain, they're all the same.
But that's not a solution.
You didn't address what the actual issue is.
Right, that's my point.
But why? We've been talking about the issue forever.
You realize that there's a whole segment of society that doesn't actually believe it's an issue. That's why it's even a debate when people like, Michael Brown are being shot in the street. That's why there's an argument. Because they're sitting here saying, well, that's not really happening. He probably was aggressive. He probably was this. He probably did this to deserve that. There are people that don't accept that there's a problem. We accept that there's a problem because we've lived it on a certain level. But there's a whole segment of society that does not believe that. So if there are people that don't believe that, and those are the people that are often in power, how do you expect them to come with solutions?
But the
because
people
they
that don't believe that there's a problem are not usually the ones giving the problem.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, they are, because I mean, to an extent, yes. Like, I'm just using Kelly Osbourne's comment, because that comes from somebody who, you know, I mean, I could see somebody who didn't think that there was a problem in America would make a comment like that and not see how ignorant and racist that comment can be. That adds to the problem, because now you make yourself not understanding white privilege, not understanding what you represent to a large community of people, and then just making comments like that. You are segregating yourself the same way when people say Black Lives Matter. You segregate yourself when you say, oh, well, they clean toilets, so you don't clean toilets. I know lots of white trailer trash people that clean some fucking toilets.
I clean my toilets, but at the end of the day, like, there just needs to be a point where we as a people, I don't give a crap what race you are, have to come together. But we've had this conversation.
No, we have the conversation.
How are we not?
This is how we have the conversation. There's no sitting down and there's no one figuring out, okay, how can we create ideas?
The president has said it. I mean, what he said that we're racist. But at the end of the day, that's my point. At the end of the day, it needs to forget the problem. We need to come together and say, look, this is the solution.
But who's doing that? Ben Carson ain't doing that.
Ben is not.
I felt like he gave a good point, though.
I disagree.
You can't have a point with no solution.
That your brains are the same, and they are.
But honey, we've known that for hundreds of years. He didn't present some new idea that suddenly we all bleed red. That's not new information. That's a bullshit cop-out because you actually don't have any solutions. You don't have any solutions, and you're trying to maintain the status quo because you're on the stage with people that if you man up and say, yeah, fucking Black Lives Matter, because they only gave Black Lives Matter 2 seconds in the whole debate. When somebody was asked if it's a civil rights activity of our time, they did not respond. They were just like, no, we're just trying to figure things out. Everybody wants to smooth over because it's uncomfortable and it sucks. And I agree. I'm sick of it sucking.
We're still getting
I want a solution. But if there's still people on stage that are trying to run the country that don't even acknowledge that it does suck and there is a problem.
I mean, it's the same thing with like radical Islam. People don't acknowledge stuff. But at the end of the day, I just want to hear solutions come out of people's mouths. I'm tired of hearing about the problem. We know the problem.
We have to talk about the problem before we can get to a solution. But unfortunately,
no, I don't feel like he gave a solution, but I don't feel like he was adding to the problem. He wasn't adding, though.
He told me some shit I knew when I was a baby. We all got a brain. It's the same.
Right, but he didn't add to it, though. He didn't add to it, though.
If your fans want to give you a solution to the world's problems, where can they reach you at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stuart Starlet.
Jesse?
DJ Jesse J.
Aaliyah?
You must follow me at ALIAKRUZ. That's Aaliyah Cruz. All my handles are the same, Aaliyah Cruz.
And you can find me at Daryl Kristen at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Also remember to go to the Buzz Meter question, which is, do you think Kelly Osbourne was out of line, yes or no? We had a serious talk about that today. We want to know what you guys have to say.
This was a serious episode. Can I get a high five?
And don't be scared of us. Be sure to tune in next week. Kumbaya, baby. Kumbaya. Have a great weekend.
FYI, in case you didn't know, we all love each other.
The views expressed here are those of the host only.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
I feel like I wasn't there.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.